trust me, it broke my heart to see that, children had to go through that experience. Now, the painful part is some people, well-wishers, good Samaritans, you like to call them, they were at the building, waiting for the government to come and try, with the equipment to evacuate the students. Yeah. And they are not there. The government was not there. The necessary bodies were not there. These children were under the rubble. Now, someone just was hearing some level of scream at somewhere. He just went and used the hole and he tried to, open up that place. If you see the number of children that came out of that very little hole, that very little hole, they kept dragging them out. The children were crying. Some of them had their eyes covered in sand. It was such a disheartening sight. It broke my heart a lot. Now, while we were even trying to recover from that, talking about that, I now saw a report over the weekend here in Abuja that a building collapsed in Abuja, and the Commissioner of Police, FCT Command, Bennett Igwe, he says all the victims of the 2-story building that collapsed in Kubwa, that the Buhari Area Council in the earlier of Saturday, they said they were rescued alive, thankfully, but anything could have happened. Yeah. Now, he told the news agency that the rescue team was able to go down the rubbles to ascertain that all the trapped persons were evacuated from there. Awesome. But in the case of this, what they call it now, the students in Jos, I don't think some of them had already died. Some of them were taken to the hospital, and some of them didn't even make it. Now, while we were still trying to digest that, this morning again, I see that family members living in the boys' quarters behind the story building on Lola Street in Yonapaja in Lagos State, that they escaped the death by whisker when the quarters caved in on Saturday. The collapse, people in the area alerted emergency responders, including the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, which stormed the premises to observe the situation. So we've had too many instances where building collapses, is quite incessant. Right. And it calls for concern. It calls for serious concern.
It does call for concern, Martha. And, enough cannot be said, in this regard. The truth is the fact that as much as we know, Martha, you said something that's very clear. You said we always wait for these things to happen before we begin to swing into action. You see calls from left, right, and center. Oh, we should call this people. This agency has to be here, and all of that. And then not undermining the hours on end that it takes for some of these evacuation agencies to come in, or disaster management agencies to come in to looking into these issues critically, and of course seeing how they can salvage whichever or whatever life is left from an unfortunate incident. But then I don't know, from my training, if you remember community theater, there's something that says that community theater. It's all about the fact that, hey, don't wait for the government. If you discover that a government is somewhat irresponsive. I wouldn't want to use the word irresponsible, but let's say irresponsive, of the plight of the needs of the people. You out there, there's a reason you saw that. There is a reason you witnessed that. But rather, you see current day Nigeria, present day Nigeria, because of the mobile phones that we have, that is data powered. We take out our phones, and the next thing we are making videos, streaming online, and all of that, forgetting that we have a responsibility to ensuring that we did our best to seeing that the situation at the moment was salvaged. You never can tell. If you had gone into that place, you don't know how many lives you would have saved just before the emergency, management, whatever, arrived. And that's what that young man did. Is it in the Kubwa rubble or the Jos rubble? The Jos rubble now. Yeah, where he just took a hole, as little as a hole.
Yeah. I counted about maybe 10 of them,
and they came out of that place. So imagine that there was nobody that took an initiative to saying that, hey, and imagine that there were 10 of them who had the same understanding as the person with the hole.
10 other places.
At 10 other places. Probably will not have, as much, deaths, or those who may be recorded as being dead, in the process. And then it brings other concerns, Martha.
Yes.
I mean,
negligence.
I don't know.
Negligence, unscrupulous behavior in construction.
And then look, there's something that really hurts me these days, and I'm sure it hurts you too, listening to the sound of our voices now. The fact that everybody that feels that he or she has been a part of a building process believes that he's an engineer, is a site engineer. That I built, I put a block on the block. I've done that for.
I've been doing it for like 30 years.
30 years, 5 years.
You know.
Oh, if they
I'm
ripe.
You know the problem is we have inadequate building inspections here in Nigeria.
Well, given that,
and
yes.
maintenance.
Yes.
We don't check the risk of these buildings to human lives, you know, the need for accountability and investigation of these buildings. Because in other developed countries, say for instance, there's been a collapse here, there's a collapse there, they will now go to investigate the, I don't want to say authenticity of it, because that's not like, is this building properly erected?
Right.
Is this building properly erected? And now, aside from that, what kind of materials were used to build this place?
Right.
This place? Because we have a lot of substandard materials in the marketplace, and we see people deliberately go to buy the substandard because they cannot afford to buy that which is, you know, the original or what will give them the desired result. Now, the refusal of wider spread or wider society to recognize professionalism and pay for the services. Remember, in places like the UK now, where we've seen Nigerians, you know, go put themselves, you know, massive exodus, yes, from the country,
sure.
you know, to the UK. You see some of them go to get certifications for plumbing,
right?
Because that country has upheld professionalism over anything else.
There's a system at work.
There's a system that works. We have refused to recognize this professionalism. We've refused to uphold the things that we need to do, you know, and so we keep having people just erupting from anywhere, claiming the title of builders, people even claiming to be effective with the POP work, and then you just be in your house one day and see. I think sometime in 2022, we saw lots of POPs falling down off, you know, falling off people's houses. If you must do something, you know, they say whatever is worth doing well. I saw it cheaper. You know, we play with these things, you know. I saw it cheaper elsewhere. I saw it, you know, is good, but the price is not like your own. So you go and get the price that is not like my own.
Can I?
And then, I mean, look at where it lands us.
Can I also shock you, Martha? It's not because we don't have the systems. The systems are not functioning. They're not functioning, or is it that they're also aiding and abetting the same, you know, evil act? And then the sad part again is that those who indulge in, you know, using substandard, you know, equipment, you know, to building some of these houses and all of that, most of the time, because they know they use substandard, they don't live in it.
Yeah.
Are you aware?
Yeah.
They don't live in it. They know that it's substandard, but they rather mortgage it with the lives of other people, unsuspecting victims, to come and live in it. And then you hear these landlords, so to speak, in quotes, come up around and give exorbitant, you know,
especially
amounts.
when it's a story building.
That's it.
See, I feel like anybody even living in a story building is at risk.
You are at risk.
It's true. You're at risk already.
I'm telling you, given the situation, given what we find out now,
you're at risk already, because you don't even know. You might release the funds. You know, take this, do that, and the people on the side will be looking for the best way to manage the money, so that they can have their personal gains, some crumbs from it. You know, and what have you. So you're not even aware of the kind of materials. And that's why some people go as far as ensuring that they supervise the buying of the materials as well as the building. Right. So yes, let's just move into the conversation. And critical questions I want us to be answering.
Exactly.
What are the causes of this building collapse, aside from the ones that we have highlighted here in Nigeria? How can the government and regulatory bodies prevent such incidents? Because it feels like these incidents go unnoticed and unpunished as well. Perpetrators of such things go unpunished, using substandard materials, you know, lack of requisite technical knowledge, non-adherence to building codes and standards, and the use of non-professionals, you know, for these as well. So what measures do you think the government or regulatory bodies can take, you know, to prevent such incidences, and what measures can be taken to ensure accountability and justice for the victims of these incidents? Because after now, you see everyone will move on. Life continues.
Life goes on, man.
Life goes on.
That's it.
And in the building, a school building for that matter, children, you know, they're in school writing their exams, they've lost their lives, you know, families have lost their children. What kind of justice will be served as compensation to these parents and the families of these children, of
especially over sort of things that we could have avoided, avoidable issues, but right there, because of our greed, because of trying to get things at a cheaper rate and everything, we endanger the lives of fellow human beings.
Yeah.
Now sometimes we even picture in our minds that, look, hey, if that was my son, if that was my daughter attending that school right there, would I be able to allow for my conscience to go get substandard materials to building these houses?